Hello, and welcome to the screencast for Proidgy for EDU 807. In the screencast, we are going to be learning about the many unique and interesting features that Proidgy has that sets it apart from other adaptive math programs. In the screencast, we'll be learning about how we can play Proidgy along with our students, how to use the dashboard for Proidgy to make it a successful integration into our classrooms, and also how to set up a Proidgy account. So let's get started with setting up a Proidgy account. When you first go onto Proidgy, the website, go ahead and click on the green button that says Get Your Free Account. Here you can go ahead and fill in your email address, your full name, and if you're a teacher, parent, or student. And then you just simply click Account. I'm not going to click Account because it messes up my current account that I already have. When you already set up an account, you just go ahead and click Log In. You can use Google Save to save your information so you don't have to type it in every time. When you come to the Proidgy website, you may notice that there's a class code. This is the class code that you can give your students to sign into Proidgy. You do not have to give them the class code. When you go onto their dashboard, which you do simply by clicking on Viewing Class, you can go into your student section and simply add students to your roster on your own. Or if you want to give them the code, you can, and then the students will simply go ahead and add themselves at home or wherever is convenient for them. This is your Proidgy dashboard. Your Proidgy dashboard has many unique features that set it apart from other adaptive math programs. Here we can see the planner, which we'll talk about in a minute. We can see that this is the student engagement at home and in the classroom, a promotional section for how to get a free membership. Also the student leadership board, which is very important for gamification. The students can also see this as well when they sign on to Proidgy, what my students are struggling with for the week, and also where my students are as terms as grade value of where they are as in the math program as well. When we look at the engagement for the week, we can see my students answer the question for the week. We can see that today there were only 4 questions answered at home on Monday, and in class 158. If I click on View Full Report, it gives me the option to see. I can click by clicking up here by the student. If I'm looking for an individual student, I want to know how often they sign on, I can do that. I can move the planner back and I can see different progress for different students, full class, or yet again clicking on here looking for a specific student to see how often they sign on to Proidgy at home or in the classroom. And down here also gives me a statistical view that I could add into maybe an SSP or SPSS that I can add into what my students are doing at home as well. Once you're done looking at your students' engagement of using Proidgy at home, you can go back to the classroom, which will take you back to your dashboard, and then you can go ahead and look at other features that are really unique and interesting as well. One of my new favorite unique features is the planner. The planner you can use to go ahead and map out your whole classroom for the whole year. So how do you do that? Great question. So you pick the month that you want. I started mine in January, so as you can look down here, some of my assessments have been going on. We can see this with the arrow for quite some time. And excuse me, I can go ahead and I can use some start and some stop dates. So I'm just going to go ahead in my calendar and I'm just going to, sorry, my computer froze. I'm just going to go ahead to get a clear space so that way I can show you what I'm using. So when I go to create an assignment, first I'm going to pick on the skill level. Always in the curriculum, make sure that it's Common Core, and then pick your grade level that you are interested in. I teach 3rd grade, so I'm going to click on 3rd grade. Maybe this week we are going to be learning about addition in expanded form with no regrouping. So I go ahead and I click Next. Oh, if you go back to it as well, these little arrows right here will show you some example problems. So if you're not exactly sure what your students will be getting, you can go ahead, as far as question-wise, you can go ahead and look to see what it is type question. So yet again, just go to Curriculum, Common Core, and then pick the grade that you are interested in. And yet again, this is something that we will be learning, so it gives me a good example of some questions they'll be having to answer. So I can go ahead and hit Next. Here I can pick my student. This is the part that I like. I can pick how many questions I want. So if I want to make this maybe a pre-test or a post-test, I can pick 25 questions. Or if I just want to do a progress monitoring during the week, I can maybe click 4 or 5 questions. So maybe I'm just going to give it as a progress monitoring. And I can choose who I want as my students. If I want all of them, I can click here, or if I just want a certain few, I can just click on them as well. I will show you in a second how you can differentiate for different students as well. So I'm going to pick all my students. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to pick my start date. You can either click here, or I like to click on the squares. So I'm going to start on the 6th when they'll get that assessment, and maybe we're going to go all the way until Friday. And that will be my end date. So as you can see, it has it blacked off. Now, say that I know that I have a student that is struggling with shapes. So I'm going to go to create an assignment, and I still want them to get the addition because that's what we're doing in the classroom, but I also want them to get some support in shapes as well. So I can still go ahead and click Common Core, click first grade, and maybe, because I don't have shapes in 3rd grade, so I want them for 1st grade, I can do that as well. I can click here and, oh, this is perfect. I know exactly what I want. So I can click on there, and then I can click next. And then maybe I just want them to do a pre-test for me because I want to see how much growth they're going to make. So I can just go ahead simply here. I can click 20 questions, and then I can just, if I just want to pick the student, I can go ahead and click that student, and then I'll hit next. And then maybe I want her to do it on Monday, but I want her to do it for a full 2 weeks instead of just a week. So I can click here, and then I can hit create. So also now I have on top of that another student that is doing shapes, but on their Proidgy they'll still get addition and expanded form as well. And I'll show you how that works on their end. When they're done, if I can click view report, it'll show me how they are doing on the questions. I can print this if I need to give it to somebody. These are the questions that they will be asked during one of their battles, so the students will not know. This is just between the teacher at the dashboard and whoever else needs it. And then this one will be for just for individual students. As you remember, this was my full class. It will tell me how they did on their questions as well. And yet again, we can see what question do they have. I like this feature because it makes it a lot easier for me to see what they were doing instead of just telling me they had 1 + 1. And it also gives me some legends as who got it correct, incorrect, and answered. Since I just assigned it right now as I'm showing you the screencast, of course, there's no information to be viewed. So that's what I currently use to look to see what my students are doing as well. Great for you to have if you need to print that out for somebody. We can always go to reports. My reports can show me student usage, weekly activity, curriculum coverage, so how much Proidgy is covering my curriculum, student progress, and then the topics that were covered as well. We can also click on those and send that information to where it needs to go as well. So that is the unique feature of the planner. I like that. I have used other adaptive programs such as Front Row. They don't have this feature, and I do enjoy it because I like setting this up for my students. So going on to the game Proidgy, the most unique feature is that I can play Proidgy along with my students. So just by clicking on Play with Proidgy, it goes ahead and loads. When you first go ahead and, oops, of course today it's not going to be as fun. So as it goes ahead and loads, I already made my person. I've been on here a few times playing with my students. Everybody gets a fake name and everybody makes a little fake creature here. These are the worlds that you can pick on to go see where your students are located. You can go to Ruby, and they change every single time, and there's more worlds as well. Great for graphs because it talks about the wizards online, so we can look and see how many wizards are on where and most often. So if I'm interested in playing in the Ruby world because my students told me that they were there, I can go there. You can go incognito and you can tell your students that you're there, or I'm sorry, not tell your students that you're there, or you could tell them that you are there. And when you log on, you go ahead and get all the bonus benefits of playing as well. So you can walk around. You simply just walk around by clicking on the ground here. If you want to go into a building, you can. You don't necessarily have to spy on your students and see what they're doing. You can just walk around and look at the different features as well. Proidgy always updates all the time. It's really, really amazing what they do. So going back to how do I get my information for those tests. So see this owl Pokemon creature here? You click on him and he's going to battle with me. Now remember the assignments that I showed you were for April. So currently the ones that we just did I'm not going to show you today. So we can attack him, and attack is when the computer starts doing an assessment on me. So I can use Magic Shot, and it'll ask me a question, and I can go ahead and answer it. I have my tools over here, and I have my manipulatives over here, counters, I can pull them out. If it is a battle, such as a pre or post test battle, you get the YouTube videos, but this is probably just going to wind up being going to be just a progress monitoring, so probably about 2 or 3 questions, not very long. If I need help, I can hit on the button and it will tell me what to do, if I need to round up or if I need to round down. Some of them will let you type, where you can use your keyboard. Others will want you to type using their mouse pad that they give you. Some are true and false, so there's a whole variety of different questions. So you can go ahead and you can enter your answer here and you cast your spell. If you're right, yay, he's so excited and happy. And then your spell is a bunch of glitter that goes over the animal. If you get it right, the Pokemon that you're battling always misses. Then you can attack again, whatever one you choose to do. Yet again, you can ask for help. Now say I get it wrong. Say that I choose to pick 8 and I cast a spell. If it's wrong, it will say oops, and then it'll directly take you to the hint and the strategy to try to help you. You can listen to it. This is great for students that need help with reading as well, so you can close the hint. As well, they can also figure out what to do and what they need to do as well. So let me go ahead here and exit out of here. And and then I'm going to go back in to show you what it looks like when my students are playing as well. I'm not sure if any of my students are on. It's at night, so I highly doubt any of them are on this late at night, but there may be some people on, maybe other teachers spying on their students as well. So you can go on here. As this is loading, we can talk about how it would be great to use this in the classroom to integrate things such as TPAC in the EEE framework. We know TPAC talks about using technology for pedagogical knowledge. This is great because we can use the technology, Proidgy, computers, laptops, whatever internet device, and we can incorporate it into the classroom and enhance our curriculum by having the students tell us what they learned from Proidgy. Maybe they don't know the answer. Maybe they just had some exposure to it. But at least that gives us a building block that we can use that. If we use the data, such as the results of how they're doing on pre-test and post-test and progress monitoring, we can go ahead and turn that into a form of TPAC of when we're using that to help our students become better with the classroom and with the content. So as you can see, there are 2 students here. I'm not exactly sure if they're mine because they have fake names, but you can click on them and you can see what they have earned in battles. Some of them, as you may notice, that boy had a dog following behind him. They all have houses. This person currently does not. I can battle them if I want. I can view their stats to see what level they are. I'm only a level 6 because I don't play too much. But you can view that as well. My students cannot communicate with other students. It's impossible. They can send things like happy face and frowny face. But yet again, as far as text, they can't text them in any way, shape, or form. My students can move around whichever way they want to go through their little world, and they also have little buttons that they can use as well. As I said, this is very engaging, referring back to the EEE framework because we talk about in EEE engagement, extension, and enhancement. And when we think of engagement, I mean, who wouldn't want to move around in these different little worlds? Proidgy's constantly changing them. You can go ahead and change your character's outfits, have little pets that you talk about with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These students go ahead and build on the basic blocks of that, such as they want a family to love them, and they can have a family. They can adopt pets and take care of them. They build their houses. They care about these animals. We can talk about things as we go into autonomy versus shame and doubt, and we know that our students are moving more towards autonomy because they don't have to depend on anybody else to help them, and they can make their own decisions and critical thinking. As we go on here, we can see that there's many different spell books. I don't know very many because, yet again, I have not played often. But my students can go on here and they can change the world as well. Yes, you can go inside the buildings. The one that I was trying to go into was not yet open. So you can go ahead and buy things, I don't know. So you can try different fancy smancy hairstyles there. So you can do whatever you are interested in doing. But Proidgy is a great, interesting game for all students. It's fun to incorporate it into the classroom, and it's also fun when they incorporate it at home. So I hope you enjoy my screencast on Proidgy, and I hope that you use it with your students to enhance, extend, and engage your students in the curriculum.